If Maria supported the show, I'd be less sick of podcasts.
Blah, blah, blah. The blah, blah, blah.
Sending out good vibes.
Blah, blah, blah.
Good
Blah,
vibes.
blah,
Good vibes.
and the blah, blah, blah.
Good vibes. Good vibes.
108 breaths of deep gratitude and prayers for guidance and protection. And put on a didgeridoo and shamanic drumming track. Shivers or vibrations and stuff like that.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Grimerica Show. We are going to be chatting with Samuel Chong a little bit later about the Thiaoooba Prophecy and Golden Planet, all sorts of fun stuff about some book. It's kind of got an alien
It's
twist,
not just
right?
some book. Dude. It's not just some book.
It's not
a
just
book
some
written in the late 1980s by a French guy. What was his name? It was Michel Demarquet, probably. I shouldn't say Michael. Michel Demarquet. And he wrote it in the early 90s. But I mean, he kind of was, it was one of these stories where, you know, he says he got abducted for like 10 days and he came back and had to write this book and people didn't believe him. And he was like, oh, I got to write the book anyway. So Samuel Chong has translated this. Like he helped get this book to the Chinese and the Taiwanese, I think. Taiwan and China. Yeah. And I mean, because to him, it answered he's read all these books, all these channeling books, and this answered a lot of the questions. And when I read it, dude, it was like, it wasn't one of these sort of flaky, oh, you know, your planet's going to die from climate change and global warming. Like it wasn't like sort of a contemporary narrative based one. It was like sort of based on common sense stuff. It was I found it very interesting. And it's just out on audio now, actually, just the last couple days.
Narrated by whom?
Michael, some English guy. I can't remember his name. Yeah.
Some English bloke.
Yeah. Some English bloke.
Great. Well, it's an interesting chat and it's a good timing because everyone's talking about aliens right now.
Exactly. UFOs are in the milieu.
We have the live stream. I was actually noticing the live stream video of our chat with Abby Loeb.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We were streaming back then with him?
We were streaming with Abby.
Wow,
Looks
really?
like,
Hey, well, yeah, we should get that one on for sure. Yeah.
It's probably a good time to just clean that up and get it.
Yeah, get it further out there, yeah.
Because, I mean, they were just talking about him on JRE.
Yeah, well, yeah. Abby's, he's in there. He's doing the work.
You have it. So, how you been? What have you been up to? It's a great chat. People check it out. If they want to skip our lazy ramblings, they can click on the link in the show notes.
Yeah.
At least in my pod player, you can. You could just click on that timestamp in my pod player.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So I mean, it's been interesting. We did a Grimerica Outlawed. I wanted to kind of talk about it because it's on our other channel, Grimerica Outlawed, but it was with Russ and Kyle from the Brothers of the Serpent and Marty Garza, and it was about the JRE app that they were talking about, Abby Loeb, and we had a good chat about just sort of rolling over all these different sort of theories and this different stuff about the UFOs situation. So head over there and listen to that. It was fantastic.
It does seem to be quite popular. People definitely enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
I've listened to it now, or not all of it, but enough of it to kind of get what you guys are talking about now. So I think he's a spook for one. and a couple other people I might know that I thought might have been spooks that I know. I've been just confirmed by a few of the comments he made about spooks. Or about like, you know, because not all spooks are spooks. Some of them are just like smart ass motherfuckers who get like spookified. But that guy gives me heavy spook vibes. Like he's
what do you mean spookified? What?
Well, like he was talking about all the if you're real good at your job, like a high-end scientist, you get like Manhattan Project. That's like spookified. Even if you're not a
I see what
spook,
you mean.
it's
You're
just
brought
like,
in. Oh, I see. You're brought into the fold. You're brought into the special access programs only, and yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah. So that's not a spook though to me. Like that's just somebody that's working with high clearance, like beyond. What did they call it again? Way back when? Beyond top secret or above top secret, right? I think of a spook. I think of somebody that's working for the alphabet agencies, and just pretending not to be.
true, I guess. Well, you are though, aren't you? Then in that case, you are.
Yeah, but not working on something technically with technology. Like if you're in there working on the engineering aspect, I don't consider that spookified. I mean,
What if you're not allowed to tell
if you're
anyone?
pushing papers,
What if you're not allowed to tell anyone?
yeah, then that's just above top secret. I mean, that's
Isn't
clear
that a spook?
stuff. No,
You're not a spook?
no, I don't think so. I think a spook is more of like pushing papers and propaganda and like, yeah, the communication part of it. Yeah.
So, Graham Dunlop's definitions. Let's see what happens if I type spook into Google. A ghost, a CIA spook. I'm not saying that. Huh? Who knew?
Well, that's kind of what it is. That's kind of directly what it is. It's usually not from just any alphabet agency. It's usually directly that one. So
the CIA?
Yeah. So we probably shouldn't even be talking about this stuff.
I mean, some other
here
stuff
we are.
too.
Darren was sort of, talking about making that Abbey Loeb video again, like putting it out on YouTube. We're talking about sort of cleaning up our YouTube channel, and we're just maybe trying to hang on before we get our last strike. So, and then here you are talking about all these things. I mean, you just, this will go on there.
That's okay.
We
we can't stop talk about certain things.
Okay.
One.
So we'll be careful. With the stuff we put on there.
We can't poke the bear.
Yeah. So you've been making some good little
And
videos.
you can't switch the bear into a monkey. Oh, both those things are
Right,
frowned
right.
upon.
Yeah.
Even talking about it. Yeah, I started making some videos, and shout out to Sean, has been helping me make some thumbnails and make some videos. So we started a new YouTube channel. So that's a third YouTube channel, because Graham had obviously just started the Adult Brain one for the audiobooks. And then we started another one just because our one YouTube channel's got so much stuff on it now. It's kind of a mess, and it's really only like 5 or 10% video. And the rest is just audio stacked up over pictures, which is fine too. But the stuff that is actually video, we started to move over to a Grimerica Media channel. That will just be all video. There'll be nothing on that YouTube channel that isn't video, and that'll include like little cut up shorts eventually of I don't know about all the podcasts. That's a little overwhelming. The back catalog would be a little overwhelming to pick through, but I'll pick through some highlights of the back catalog and pick out some of the best audio bits and make a 5 or 10 minute video with some video. Whether it's a lot of these shows, we have that person talking from when we were still streaming. We record video now too, so we have it for this type of thing. So, and it's in some ways, it'll be some entry level, maybe commercials you can send to your family members. You don't want to listen to 2 hours about the electric universe. Here's 5 minutes. Here's the top couple points from the Tychos model.
Yeah, people seem to like watching the talking heads too. Adam and John were just talking about this on the latest No Agenda as well, because I think they're realizing that some of these platforms, even like Rumble and still YouTube, I guess too, but they're getting pretty big, and a lot of people are just doing it all their podcasts on videos. So maybe we'll record more of that and put it on these platforms, but not necessarily live. I guess that's the big difference, right? So we'll probably have to figure out a process for that.
Live? I don't
But
know that we'll ever do live again.
No, that's what I mean. Like not necessarily live, but we'll have to figure out a process of maybe getting our talking heads up there a little bit more with some graphics and stuff. And then you can do a mix of talking heads and throw shit in there as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of gives you more ability to make it like
B-roll, or if these guys have presentations and stuff like that, a lot of them are talking about stuff that's easy to get, stuff that's not copyrighted. Government studies or studies and stuff like that. It's easy to get those graphs and charts and you don't have to worry about it. So, and a lot of it just has to do with that finally the video editing software has got to a point where I can fucking comprehend it. I mean, you try and outsource this kind of stuff and it just never works. We can't afford to pay people to do it because we can.
Oh no, and you can you can do you can spend a long time on it. So it's finally at the point where it's actually doable, right?
It seems like it. I mean, it's not, Hollywood, but it's good, and I think it's good. Turns out pretty good. People seem to be liking it. It'll only get better. I'm using DaVinci Resolve, so if anyone out there uses that, but I mean, I've got our buddy Kevin from Unpaved that uses it nonstop. So I've got him to sort of text whenever I'm hung up or something like that, and I think it'll just get better over time, and maybe it'll get to the point where we can start looking at making some longer form video content. There is some long form video content we've got already, which will start to be highlighted more on our main YouTube page as well. But you should subscribe to both. It would help out if you subscribe to both of those.
Yeah, and big shout out to Altrusian Grace too. He's been helping us through this process as well. He made the little adult brain intro for our videos. It's really, really cool. And he's got some really great audiobooks over there as well. So we've been in contact with him with some of this stuff. So yeah, we're just trying to get it all going.
I got my first viral TikTok and they fucking removed it.
This is the problem.
I got up to like 10 or 12,000 and had like 2,000 likes. And it was just like every time I opened it up, it had another 500. Boom. Boom, boom. It was only up for like 4 hours. And they removed it because I had guns.
Did they tell you why? What's it like when you get canceled from TikTok? This is a new thing here.
Well, they just remove the post. They don't even like give you shit or send you an email or nothing. They're just like, this post was removed for community guidelines.
That's it.
I appealed it, but it's you've seen the gun video, right?
So how many appeals, active appeals do you got going on right now on all the different platforms?
Oh,
you've got
like
Twitter, YouTube,
7.
and TikTok active appeals going on.
And Instagram.
And Instagram.
So I've got like 8 active appeals.
This is why you got to support your local independent podcast channel, please. We could always use your support.
The video is hilarious. I don't know why they removed it. Everyone was
it the gun
it.
one? Was it the gun one? What was it?
Yeah, the gun one.
Explain it.
Where Buddy comes out. It's like, I think the first one's Gavin Newsom. Where he's like, we're going to take away your guns. And they've put like this effect on his voice so he sounds all evil. And then there's that Beto character saying, we're coming for your AR-15s. And then it's just like a super cut of like all these fucking maniacs shooting off guns and toy guns and fucking cannons. It was just timed perfectly. I forget who sent it to me. I'd like to give him a shout out, but someone sent me it was really funny.
Yeah,
it's on my Instagram. It just didn't get the traction there. On TikTok, it just obviously some big account or someone seen it or it came across someone's plate. I don't know how the algos work over there. I really don't. But I couldn't believe it. I tried shut it off, turn it on, and it was already up like over 2,000 or something like that. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
That's not good. Yeah, they want to get rid of that one right away. So now you're going to be blacklisted there too. So we're going to have to do like a segment every week on Darren's appeal update.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to the TikTok channel here now. And I mean, it has been going okay because that post was still good in some ways because then it's got more people watching our other stuff. Like our other videos that only had like 5 views are now up to 370 people watch the Azores promo. 100 people watch the global warming versus global cooling. So that's more, I don't know. But I don't know how long is it before it's a view? Because you just swipe into a video, right? If you just get caught up and watch the little intro segment, is that a view?
And on which platform? Instagram?
TikTok.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't pay attention to the Instagram stuff because it's not the company. I don't care what happens to my personal Instagram or who's watching it or who's liking it. But the TikTok's for the business, so I like to watch it. You know, it's good to get some traction there with some stuff. And because like that gun post got us probably an extra couple hundred people watching our non-gun posts. We get kicked off. And YouTube has not responded yet. They said somebody was on the case.
And Twitter's not responded yet either?
Twitter has also not responded yet.
But they've acknowledged your new appeal though, right? They've said they're looking into it again, right?
Yeah. So here, I'll read you the email if you want the update from Darren's appeals. So from Twitter. It was on Thursday, so they got a couple more days. I thought it was on Tuesday for some reason. It was the 23rd. And today's the 27th?
Yeah.
Hello, we received your request to have your account reinstated. We are reviewing a high volume of requests and appreciate your patience, as it may take longer than normal for us to get back to you with an outcome. If this request is for an account reinstatement under our new criteria, please allow 5 to 7 days for us to respond.
Is that what it is?
5 days tomorrow.
No, is that what it is? Like, is it under the new criteria?
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
somebody emailed
Suggested,
me.
like,
Somebody emailed me this statement from Twitter that basically said, as of this day, they were going to have a new criteria and a new way to deal with troublemakers like me, and they'd consider letting us back on.
They can recategorize your hate into just ambiguity.
Mm-hmm. So
Strategic ambiguity.
we'll see what happens.
Right on.
So other than that, we have an event coming up, Contact at the Canyons, like 6-7 weeks out with Dave Matheson, Brandon Powell. We're going to have a time up in them national parks and up on that mountain, jumping in the cold water.
I heard there might be some people from the Cruising with Steak crowd coming over.
To the event.
Yeah.
I don't know who.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to those guys in a while. I know we got some room left for people who want to come. So one of the guys that came to the first Scavlons is coming, but I've met so many people at these events. I have to admit I'm starting to have trouble. I pride myself on, like, especially once I've met someone, being able to
remember
their name once I've seen their face, but it's just starting to be too much. Or I'm getting too old or something. Anyway, what do you got?
Well, I got a project operation for you that kind of has to do with what we've been talking about with the UFOs and such. You got a jingle for me here?
What's that noise? Looks military to me. Definitely military. Probably classified too.
Dishfire, Prism, Sentry Eagle, Sigma, Mannequin, Artichoke, MK Ultra. Operation Project.
So this is a big shout out to The Observer. It's The Observer magazine at substack.com. They've been emailing us and sending us actual like paper magazines for like years now.
Yes.
Fantastic stuff. And this is called Project Mindshift. And this is like, it's very relevant. The re-education of the American public concerning extraterrestrial life, 1947 to 1997. And it's Michael Mannion's exploration into the government's ability to keep a secret while simultaneously managing its release. His mind shift hypothesis states that our world has been and is now being visited by advanced intelligent entities from elsewhere, and this reality has been known to a limited number of people within the U.S. government since 1947, at least 1947. So while this premise has most UFO believers nodding in agreement, Mannion takes the scenario a step further. Realizing that the secret couldn't be kept forever, he proposes that officials began a psychological operation to prepare the American public to be able to accept the reality of ET life. So it speculates whether the elements within the government have leveraged mass media to mold popular opinion. He illustrates TV and movies have pushed this propaganda. And they've both played a large role in shaping and reflecting the development of public attitudes towards UFOs and ET life, of course. And then he talks a little bit. The most intriguing portion of the book comes during Mannion's interviews with ufology's leading figures. So guys like, he calls them the mind shifters. So when asked about his hypothesis, instead of a diverse set of answers, basically the respondents sounded like they were reading from the same script. So we're talking about like Edgar Mitchell, David Jacobs, John Mack, Stanton Friedman, Bud Hopkins.
Is John Mack the guy who died young?
No, he didn't die young, but he died.
Wasn't he kind of young and he had those books on Mars and stuff? I'm sure it's a guy.
No, I don't think so. He was one of the abduction researchers. I think it was Harvard or something. So out of this esteemed group of ufological voices, only Ray Fowler and Michael Lindemann stood apart with measured replies to the mind shift hypothesis. It's talking about just slowly introducing this to the public. So I'm going to put a link to this in the show notes. And it is about a book actually called Project Mindshift. I wonder if we should have Michael Mannion on the show.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's still alive. Yeah, we'll try to do that. That would be a good one.
Did you reach out to Dave Matheson yet?
No, I didn't actually. I shall do that.
Wappa, 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 wappa. What else you got? Support the show. GrandAmerica.ca/support. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. I mean, there's a reason we're not like YouTube aficionados, but we're just trying to find a way to just anything we can do to keep it going, to keep the hegemony afloat as we keep going here and try and make it go and a living and grow this thing into a business and keep Graham, employed and not employed by Costco or Walmart. Or you make a hell of a Walmart greeter. You look crazy enough with the long hair.
Oh yeah.
No, we could get you handing out. We could get you working at Walmart and handing out Grand America flyers.
Oh my God.
So you get fired. Anyway, that's why it's important. You guys are actually supporting us and the ability to keep doing this kind of stuff and make better content with more time and stuff like that. So GrandAmerica.ca/support, guys. If you can, when you can, sign up for a monthly, make a one-time donation. Head over to GrandAmericaOutlaw.ca and check out that podcast. If you like it, sign up over there. AdultBrain.ca for all the audiobooks. Come on a tour. All that stuff is great ways to support the show. And us and everything else we're up to over here.
I got an email on that vein, if I could read it.
Sure, let's hear it.
This is an update from a UK posse that may not even know that he's part of the UK posse yet, because he's been following along from episode 1 all the way up, and he's probably maybe halfway there. He's given us a little update here. So this is from Wayne Ills. Hey guys, hope all is good up there in the future. I'm working my way through as fast as possible. It's been 4 or 5 months. I'm not sure when it started, but I'm sure I'm done all of 2018 in January, which was pretty good going. I've been through Graham's Joe Pesci and Lethal Weapon stage. Okay. And I think he's also stopped trying to take over the social media by saying Gray America and Instagram, but I may be wrong. I've only skipped 2 episodes so far. I got 15 minutes into and then realized it was just jingles, and the other one was a throwback episode to 149, I think, which was still pretty fresh in my memory. I managed to subscribe to Patreon on New Year's Eve. I think mainly because PayPal wouldn't let me, so hopefully I'm a part of the at least 5% who donate now, not just under 1%. Also, I signed up for the newsletter at the same time, but don't think I've had one yet. So if it's still going, but I'm glad I'll be over halfway through the main feed now, although I haven't been brave enough to look into the black budget feed to see how far behind I am in there yet. So that's our old feed that sort of got turned into Grand America Outlawed. Plus, I saw some outlawed stuff on the website, which only adds up to more goddamn. But I look forward to hearing it and knocking my subscription up when the boy leaves school in a few months. Keep up the good work, and so long as you don't spend 10 episodes reading a book or hours going through Wolverine's holiday snaps, you guys will continue to be in my number 1 podcast. Hope you had fun in Egypt, and if you ever get up end up in the UK, I will happily offer my services even if you just need a driver or Darren needs a hookup. Sorry for the essay. I will let you on, sending some good vibes. From Wayne in the UK posse.
It's too bad he wasn't caught up when we went out, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
We were just...
I know. I think I emailed. I think I might have emailed him. I knew that.
That being said...
Sure. If I didn't, I should have.
We are probably closer to a contact at the
castle
than ever. Yeah, I think, well, you know what it is we're just sort of getting to the point where we've done enough of these things to know what we can do and what we can pull off. And there's starting to be some ways that we could probably, if the interest is high enough in 2024, look at coming and grabbing a castle someplace. And if we can get at least, 15 people or into it, we can probably pull it off at some level. So maybe that's a good thing to start.
Just hang out for an awesome weekend kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll hang out.
Maybe go out one day to some ancient sites or something, and then
maybe we'll find some UK-based people that we can come out and have them give a presentation.
Oh yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah.
Do like maybe a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or something like that, or even a Friday, Saturday, and Graham and I could come for a little longer. So, hey, maybe if that's something you'd be interested in, give Graham an email, and we'll start up a list of people that would be interested in something like that.
Yeah, graham@grayamerica.com.
Other than that, what else you got? You got a quote?
I got a quick quote here for you.
Quotes and hoes.
I don't know who the author is. I've got his name here. I just never heard of him before.
It's the profound quote of the week.
I know him.
Darren, can you guess it? It's the profound quote of the week. Can you guess the human who spoke it or wrote it down? Profound quote of the week.
All right. We are living through one of the most fundamental shifts in history, a change in the actual belief structure of Western society. No economic, political, or military power can compare with the power of a change of mind. By deliberately changing their images of reality, people are changing the world.
Yamahu Magashi.
Willis Harmon.
Oh, I never heard of that person either. Well, that's all right. All right, you got anything else to get to before we get out of here?
No, just a little bio from Samuel Chong.
Bios.
He's a certified court interpreter and Chinese translator. He was instrumental in arranging for the Chinese publication of Michel Desmarquet's book, Thiaoooba Prophecy, which has been a bestseller in both China and Taiwan, a rare phenomena. He visited the author in 2016 and 2018 and had a close working relationship with him. He also translated the book 334 Lies, The Revelation of H.M. Stuhl, an autobiography of the High Master of the Chair of a Secret Society that was started in Germany. Today, he dedicates his efforts in promoting the message in these books in order to give people hope and to help promote a better world through his scholarship at chinasona.org. And I'll put that in the show notes as well. Graduated from Berkeley with a BA in economics and in Madrid with an MA in financial analysis, and he resides in California.
California, we just came back from there. It was great. Graham, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Northern California. Shout out to the legit Matt guys again for lending us their karaoke machine. Less of a shout out to Chandra for taking a video of me doing karaoke. Anyway, I think that's about it. You guys subscribe to the YouTube channels if you haven't already. Even if you're not going to listen, it still helps. Share the show. You're our only form of marketing at this point. And support it. Other than that, guys, enjoy the chat.
Samuel Chong, welcome to Grimerica. How's it going?
Good, very good. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, this will be fun. I think we're here mainly to talk about the translation that you did of a book, and I don't know the pronunciation, so you'll have to help me with that. The Prophecy of Thiaoooba, maybe, or how do you say that?
Yes, the French pronunciation is Thiaoooba,
Okay,
and the English pronunciation is Thiaoooba, whichever you like.
Thiaoooba. Oh, so it's more of like a V sound, not a B sound.
Yes,
Thiaoooba. Okay.
Thiaoooba, yes.
Okay.
Like Jehovah.
Okay, Thiaoooba. Okay, that makes sense. So, I mean, let's start from the beginning. Like, why? I mean, you've been a translator, right? You translate different languages into English, right? You translate into English, and why this project? Like, what happened? How did you get involved in this?
Well, this is actually something a little bit different from my traditional or conventional work. This is just my personal hobby. I was very interested in knowing the secrets of the paranormal, such as the Bermuda Triangle, the Great Pyramid of Egypt, and the stories in the Bible and the human energy field or auras. And this book unveils all the secrets. So I decided to bring this book to China. I helped to get a book published in China and Taiwan.
Okay. So, because you did a previous one about the secret societies, right? And the masters?
Yes, that's the other book, 334 Lies. That's the one that I translated from German into English.
To German. Can you tell us just a little bit about that first before we go into this one?
Well, that one is an autobiography of the highest degree chair of a secret society that was founded in Germany. And I did some research. It turned out to be the Illuminati. And it details how he was initiated and the rituals they performed, how he went from a regular college student to the highest degree chair of that organization. It also indicates that there are two sections of that organization, one the European section, the other the American section. And he actually eventually became the chair for both sections of that organization.
Wow. So is this the Illuminati like from the late 1700s? Like
Yes.
the actual Illuminati? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
From Weishaupt? Who made
What's
it?
that?
Weishaupt? Who made the
Yes, that's right.
started
Yes,
it?
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, he started it. Yes.
Yeah. So did they become spiritual masters at all, or were they going through like spiritual initiations like some of the other secret societies?
It really depends on the leader. The author of the book became a spiritual master, and he was enlightened at the end.
Wow.
But he actually saw there's someone who was not as enlightened as he was. That's why he decided to disclose everything.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Huh, interesting. So how long ago was that?
The book was published in Germany in 2001. That's the year when he disappeared. So he was afraid of someone younger and more powerful than him taking it over. And it seemed that that happened.
And you translated it when?
I translated it just a year or two ago.
Oh, okay. So then you got interested in these topics, and you thought this prophecy of I'm not going to be able to say it again. Thiaoooba answered a lot of these questions.
Yes, it really answers the meaning of life, reincarnation, and also how we can succeed in life.
So did you care if this book was true or not? Did it matter to you?
Well, in the very beginning, I thought it was just another book by E.T. contactees because I read so many in the past.
Right.
I was mostly looking for specific verifiable facts contained in the messages received by the ET contactees. And this book contains a lot of the information that I was looking for. And they really resonate to my heart.
Yeah.
So I believe everything happened to him was real.
That's interesting because that's what I started listening to it. I thought, well, I'll give this a chance, right? I put it in my reader. I have a PDF reader, so it was reading it to me, and it started out like an interesting sort of sci-fi story. But what really kept me listening to it was it didn't seem to catch on to all these narratives in our modern world. Like it seemed to be sort of like similar to some of the other channelings that I actually liked. Like, let's say, for example, Neil, what's his name now? I'm losing. He's got three names. The conversations
Tyson?
with God. No, the conversation completely opposite to that, Neil. The conversations with God.
I'll find out. You
You know.
keep going.
Yeah, it's the series Conversations with God. And some other ones that are similar, and they just seem to be like common sense in a way, right? They weren't getting like overtly political either way. They weren't really kind of like pushing any kind of cultural narratives. It was like it just seemed like good common sense for like how you would live in a civilization full of love and compassion, and that's kind of what sort of kept me listening to this. Is like a lot of this makes sense, and a lot of it seems to fit in with some of our alternative scientific theories right now, but from a different perspective. Yeah, Darren, what was it?
Neil Donald Walsh.
Yeah, that's the guy I was thinking of. Yeah. Thanks. So, so tell us more about some of the, like, I guess let's start with the author, like when, because I wasn't sure when this book was actually written by this French guy.
Well, his abduction experience occurred in 1987. He wrote a book in 1989, got it published in 1993. So that's what happened. And he was really just a regular person, a landscaper in Australia, who didn't know how to type, who didn't know how to use the internet. There was no internet in Australia at that time. And he, until his death, he still didn't know how to use a computer. So everything he wrote to me by email was actually dictated by him, so that his Vietnamese niece could type it out and then send it to me. So he was just a regular guy who didn't have a lot of education.
Wow. So when did you get the book?
I read a book the first time. It was back in 2014.
Okay. So what was different about this one than all the other ET contact stories that you heard?
Well, I really didn't believe anything written in the book until the chapter, Who is Christ? Because I didn't believe anything in the Bible. I didn't believe Jesus Christ performed all the miracles. I went to the church just to socialize and to network with other people to expand my business. But this book connects all the dots of what recorded in the Bible, in the ancient scriptures, explained how Jesus and Christ came about. It also explains the reason for the destruction of the two cities, Sodom and Gomorrah, and why they led Moses out of Egypt, leading the Hebrews from the rules or the oppressions of the pharaohs of ancient Egypt, and how they parted the Sea of Reeds, and how they helped the U.S. government in developing the atomic bomb at a much faster pace than Germany. And also they were kind of helping us throughout history. There are so many specific verifiable facts that actually explain many different things that I've been wondering about. For example, explains what ghosts are, and also explains how we can improve our health and also our immune system. So a lot of things like that are really beneficial and specific and verifiable by modern science.
What can you expand on the Jesus part again? Like what the difference is of what they said about Jesus compared to the narrative right now?
Yeah, I mean, when I was reading the Bible, I was questioning the stories. Why Jesus, at least why there's no record of Jesus performing miracles before the age of 28. It just turned out to be that he suddenly became this kind of a omnipotent, like Son of God, this kind of figure who was able to perform everything that people were amazed at. And why somehow he didn't do any of those before he was the age of 28. And why some people say that he went to India, and why there's a tomb of Jesus Christ in Shingo Village, Japan. So this book connects all the dots. Jesus, born out of Virgin Mary, was actually someone born from the embryo implanted by the ETs, just to fulfill the prophecy, just to show people that Jesus was someone extraordinary. And he was born that way. And when a person's astral body enters the embryo or the physical body, the person has to pass through what they call the river of oblivion, forgetting everything that happened in his past lives, forgetting all the knowledge that he accumulated to perform miracles. So that Jesus, although very smart, intelligent, and spiritual, he really couldn't perform the miracles. Is that Jesus who went to India, traveled to China, and died in Japan? And people can look it up. Shingo Village, Japan, to find the tomb of Jesus in that village. Christ, on the other hand, was actually someone sent by the Thiaoobans to us to preach or to teach spirituality and love. He died on the cross and then resurrected 3 days after, just to show people that there is life after death and there is reincarnation. But the concept of reincarnation was removed by the Catholic Church. He was actually someone from Thiaoooba, because he was actually someone directly from a higher kind of category of planet. He remembered all the ways, all the knowledge to perform miracles. So that's why he could levitate, walk on water, and to heal different diseases. But his main mission was to teach people at that time the importance of spiritual development.
Do you know from the other, like the people that the spiritual masters that sort of practiced reincarnation into specific bodies and stuff, like were they able to bypass the river of oblivion? Like, is that something that they learned how to do?
There are some people who remember their past lives, just a segment of their past lives. And some people can actually access the Akashic record, or some people can actually, through different means, such as past life regression through hypnosis or psychic practice, to visit their past lives and remember what they did in their previous lives. But normally people wouldn't be able to do so because, for example, if you know you're going to, if you're a bad person in the past life, you would feel like discouraged or somehow regretful of the things you did in the past lives. And but each lifetime we learn something new. We should open a new chapter and to continue to develop our spirituality.
So I have so many questions, but let's start at you mentioned they helped the US with the atomic bomb. So I guess there's a theme in all of evolution on all these planets that atomic destruction kind of happens, or it's bound to happen at some point. Can you discuss that? Do I have that right?
Yeah, it's actually a necessary step for development of any planet in the universe. We have to go through that step. The important lesson is to know how to use the new technology or the atom wisely so that we don't destroy ourselves. It's just like when a child discovers a match, and she would have to really, out of curiosity, to find out what a match can do, like what a fire can do. But she would have to know in her later years not to burn herself. Yeah. So this is similarly to what we need to learn. We need to learn how to exist peacefully among ourselves.
And so even though they kind of helped the U.S. end that war, there was a calculation done. Does this calculation kind of happen automatically that it's like this is best for the spiritual reality or best for humanity to do it this way, because they have the ability to make all these kind of like processes, like where they can see how things end up in the future or whatever, right?
Yeah, so they can foresee what's likely going to happen in about 100 years or so. During World War II, they actually assisted the U.S. government indirectly by preventing Germany from being the first country to develop the atomic bomb. They did that just to give some kind of room or environment for us to learn about the dangers of a world war like World War II. Just to learn that we need to really respect each other and not to discriminate against the different races of people. So they're giving us an opportunity to learn our lessons through the consequences of the war. They could have taken Hitler out. They could have easily done so, but they actually respected the free will of our people. Like they even respected the free will of Hitler by not taking him out. But on the other hand, we, the allies, were learning how to really fight against the Nazis or the other countries who were really not taking individual liberties seriously.
That's the problem I've had with like the ET sort of the whole ET contact thing lately is that it's like there's so many sort of evil things going on in the world. There's so many wars and so many things, and like they just keep saying, well, they can't step in and intervene, and you constantly hear this narrative about, you know, oh, take care of the earth better and do all this, but we can't come and help you, and you know, you got to do it yourself, and yet it seems like there's an evil influence. I don't know if it's ET or spiritual or just a dark sort of like Gnostic demiurge type thing that's affecting people, but yet the good ones aren't allowed to come in and help.
The evil intentions are all the free wills of the people. I mean, some people say they're reptilians, and I don't buy that concept or theory, because when we were on the moon about 50 years ago, we were warned off from the moon. We were not ready to explore the solar system or the universe by our astronauts because we were fighting against each other. We are still fighting against each other. The ETs, advanced ETs, they were afraid of us polluting the universe. So they wouldn't allow us to land on the moon again. By the same token, if the evil ETs were to want to invade us, they would have been prevented by the Thiaoobans or other ETs from doing harm to us. So I don't think there are evil ETs going to invade us in the future. I think it's just our own actions. There's no coincidence that I found the other book, 334 Lies, that I finally translated into English from German. That book explains why the world is like what we are today. There is a small group of people who runs everything behind the scenes, and they pull the strings and to influence the politicians who are just puppets on the stage. In the United States, the Republicans or Democrats, they're all the same. They come and go every 4 or 8 years. But there's a small group of people who control the deep state, who control the politicians on the front stage. And I think people need to realize it, and people need to find out the truth.
Is it the Illuminati then, or because it seems to me like the Illuminati is too new or too I feel like that influence almost needs to be more ancient than that.
There are a lot of things that people don't know about nowadays. If you read the book, you're going to understand what I mean. They are not going to be arrested by any chance because they have super psychic powers to really make themselves disappear in front of you. Jesus did that before. Jesus could do shape-shifting, as recorded in other ancient scriptures, the Coptic Bible. And there are some people among my friends who actually can do that as well, to levitate and disappear in front of you. And the Thiaoobans did that too in front of Michel Desmarquet. And the high masters of the chair of the Illuminati can do the same thing. So the police is not going to arrest them at all. They're not able to. But there are ways to really make the world a better world in the future.
Is there a good group of masters that is sort of equaling human masters, not ETs, but that sort of are as powerful or equal to the Illuminati or these black masters?
I think there definitely are, but people like Foster Gamble, like others, they're trying to do their best to wake people up. They know certain aspects of what's really going on, but we really need to know the whole picture. So I think that it's important to pass the messages, especially the messages in this book, Thiaoooba Prophecy, because this book gives a more thorough picture, a more comprehensive picture of what we need to do to really make things happen through concerted actions by the people, by the mass, from the grassroots level, using nonviolent resistance, just like Gandhi did in India, to rise up against tyranny, so to make things happen.
It really does talk about like the dangers of the materialism that we're going through right now, and how that scientism has taken over, which really resonates with us. We talk about this a lot on the show, how there's this spiritualism that's lost in the middle, right? You've got the dogma of the church and the materialism of the science, but there's this whole missing spiritual part, which seems to be addressed by them.
Yes, spirituality is different from religion. So when God created every one of us, it inserted a tiny portion of itself into our astral body. So we can really connect to God on our own, because even the Bible says the kingdom of God is within you. You can meditate, you can pray, or you can just have a good night of sleep and then connect to your higher self, and then connect to God, the source, the great spirit, the ether. So I think people should focus on spiritual growth and not rely on specific religion or the doctrines of religious leaders or the narratives of the government or the media. And I think it's important to realize that we are part of God, and God wants to experience a physical life through our physical beings. So that's the whole meaning of living the life, is to experience, to learn different lessons, and to experience all the setbacks, the challenges in life, so that we can accumulate lessons, spiritual lessons, and to send a feedback to our higher self and to God.
And how do we send that feedback to our higher self? Just connect with it?
Connect with them through meditation, through prayers, and is to take a full advantage of all the challenges we face in life, to live a full life, and to really treasure all the things that we see and hear and encounter in our lifetime.
And they mentioned that our astral self is not the same as our higher self, right? Our astral body is different, right?
Right. Our astral body is different from our physical body. Our astral body connects to our higher self. I know you read the book, so I can explain a little bit further. The universe has different planets. We have category 1, category 2, up to category 9 planet. So on category 1 planet, which is the lowest category of planets in the universe, our higher self divides itself to 9 parts, and each part enters into a physical body. So we on Earth, we share the higher self among the 9 different people. On category 8 planet, 8 different people share the same higher self through the astral bodies of the 8 people. On category 9 planet, the higher self just gives itself to one person. Because the astral body is made of electrons, so we have 1/9 of the electrons of the higher self on Earth. So we are not as psychically powerful as the people on category 9 planet, in which they take the entire electrons of their higher self. So this is why we are not able to perform the miracles that are performed by Jesus or by Christ or by the Thiaoobans, because they simply have more electrons to really perform the miracles.
Yeah, but you know some people that can do that though. So so how do they? Are they gathering more electrons to themselves? Like, is that part of the learning, the discipleship, is to increase your electron power?
Yes, some people can do that, especially people from India and also the Himalayas, and people meditate and they try to purify their spirit or their astral body so that they can really perform the miracles. And there's a Nepali monk who performed the levitation in front of a magician called Dan White. It's documented in History Channel. People can look it up. And there are others, like the people in the secret societies. They do it in a more like devious way by you can edit out if you like. By eating the heart of a person alive.
Wait, what? Let's rewind that just a minute there. So who's eating the heart? That's what the elites are doing?
There's a ceremony or ritual in which members of the secret societies, such as the Illuminati, they eat the hearts of the people alive after torturing that person to death. So, the heart requires electrons or electricity to pump blood into our blood vessels. So that's why we have the EMG or something like that because the heart requires electricity or electrons. So when they eat the heart alive, they kind of absorb the electrons of that person whose heart is eaten. So in that sense, they accumulate more power just by doing that. So this is how they do that in the secret societies. But they don't realize that once they die, they have to go through a life review process. They are going to see how they did in their lifetime. They're going to feel and experience everything they did to everyone else. They're going to feel how the person that they tortured felt when they did the torture. They're going to be feeling very regretful and remorseful for all the things that they did in their lifetime. So they're going to probably seek for another lifetime of punishment. So this is what they're going to encounter after they die. A lot of people don't know about this, but if people are really curious about the secret societies, they should read two books. One is Thiaoooba Prophecy. The other is 334 Lies.
So how do the good masters gain more power without killing and torturing somebody? Is there just by connecting to their higher self or to God, that kind of thing, like a genuine connection?
Meditation and concentration. Yeah. They have to meditate, which is to let go of everything, to quiet their mind down. And then they have to concentrate using their subconscious mind. So I think Greg Brandon wrote a book telling people how certain people could make rains happen just by thinking or feeling or immersing itself into how a rain would feel like. And they would also be thankful of everything that nature does for them. And I think the key is to really quiet the mind down by meditation and then by concentration using their subconscious mind.
That's what I thought. Darren, you got any questions?
What about other things, hearts? Does it have to still be alive? How does it, like, because, a lot of
like
indigenous cultures would have, these hearts, whether it was the Aztecs eating the hearts or other indigenous cultures maybe eating the hearts of the animals they kill. I, to this day, will still, eat a lot of the hearts of the animals that I harvest. So is this something that just got out of control and, got to humans and kids and all that? Or is it more like is this like an alien influence type thing that's like hijack this, and this is what the indigenous people is more of a remnant of them doing that in the past?
A lot of secret societies, they're misled by ancient anecdotes. They believe that eating the hearts or sacrificing certain people could achieve certain super psychic powers. They don't realize that everyone is created equal. Every man is created equal. And we all have individual free will and liberties. We are to respect each other. They don't realize this. There are differences between human beings and animals too, because even though animals, they have electrons, they don't have the
consciousness,
the astral body of human beings, because when God created everything, it inserted a little tiny portion of self only into human beings, not into animals. We have 9 different bodies. We have our physical body, we have our fluid body, we have our astral body, psychotypical body, and a total of 9 different bodies. Animal only has about 3 bodies. So we are different from animals, but that's not to say that we should sacrifice animals for our own benefit. We should respect nature. We should respect animals. The ancient Native Americans have a practice in which I really, really like and respect, is that they only eat animals when they have to, when their own life is at danger. And before they do that, they ask for permission from the animals to be eaten. I think this has been taught by Conversations with God, by Neil. And I think that's a very good practice. I'm a vegetarian myself to the best that I can, but if I'm in life danger, if I have to eat meat, then there's no doubt I would do so. But I would do that only when it's absolutely necessary to survive.
Huh. So, Darren, do you have anything to add to that or to talk about in that regard? Or?
No, I don't think so.
It's fascinating. So this book, I mean, it also gets into stuff that seems to me to match. Like, that's why I wondered when he wrote it. I didn't realize it was like, what, 30? I mean, in 87, he was abducted in the early 90s. So 30 years ago, because it really seems to match how long humanity has been around, almost from a scientific standpoint, but only recently they're admitting that it's been a few 100,000 years. So that seemed to correlate. The cataclysm of the Younger Dryas and the Great Flood seem to discuss that from an asteroid impact as well. And the hydrogen, like they talked about hydrogen powered vehicles, I guess, is a regular sort of means of free energy that are used all over the place.
They suggest or they encourage us to commercialize hydrogen engines. I know a few decades ago, Stanley Meyer invented a car that ran on water. Yeah. What he did, I can just tell you how he did it. He used a specific vibrational frequency to break the covalent bond between oxygen and hydrogen atoms so that they can actually extract the hydrogen in a very energy efficient manner and use the energy as a source of fuel. We just need to find the right frequency and to split the water molecules. It's really easy to do, but the technology is suppressed by the oil companies and the special interest groups. In fact, a Brazilian inventor invented a water-run motorcycle. Inventors from Greece, from Iran, and also from Japan did the same thing. But what happened was that they tried to patent their technology. Once they try to do that, they're going to be discovered. And the technology involves so-called national security. So it's kind of hard to commercialize if they really want to benefit on their own. So people have to think more altruistically and to really disclose what they discovered or invented immediately to the mass. So that this kind of technology can be mass produced by by different countries immediately, so that it's impossible to be suppressed.
So I don't know if you've heard about what's going on latest. We've kind of been involved. We've had this guy named Randall Carlson come on the show. He's been highlighting the technology from a fellow named Malcolm Bendall, who got his ideas from Sanskrit texts and the Vajra from the Vedas, I believe. And it's all based on sacred dimensions. And they basically don't separate water the same way as Stanley Meyer did. They create a mini thunderstorm, and it creates a plasmoid, which then gets harnessed, and then it collapses back into water. So it's super interesting, and it's supposed to be able to run cars on it and everything. And it's just coming out recently. And he went through the patent process, but also released all his documents online as well for people. So he's kind of tried to do both, get it out to everybody, like to the masses, and also get patents. And I think the Indian government is now getting involved, and Mazda, the corporation, some other interests, like high up interests. So I don't know. Maybe, do you have any thoughts of whether that might fly now if it's done right, as things have changed in the world so much in the last 10 years?
If I were the shareholders or the CEO of a major oil company, I would try my best to suppress that technology using different means. I wouldn't want to make that happen if I were the executives or shareholders of the oil companies. So I would say that they really need to be careful and to find other means to spread the knowledge and the technologies, so that they cannot be suppressed. There's another technology, zero-point energy. I don't know if you know a guy called Tom Bearden.
Yeah,
Colonel. Yeah, I think he is very credible, and I think that's another possibility.
So what about the rest of the technologies that Foster Gamble talked about in his Thrive 2? Did you watch that?
I did. I actually met him. Yeah, I think he is doing great. It's important to disclose all the advanced technologies. My only suggestion is that we just need to do more to wake people up. People who are credible as him are believed by people like me and you, but there are still a lot of people who don't believe him, and that we just need to find ways to really make things happen. And I'm doing everything possible that I can to make it happen.
Well, the Illuminati is doing a good job as well at overstepping their bounds and waking people up too. I mean, they seem to be doing it on purpose. So, I mean, people are waking up right now for different reasons. That's what I'm thinking now, is that they're just pushing the limits.
I can tell you a secret.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The Illuminati has to be broken down from within, and they're afraid of the power of the people. It's written by the chair of the Illuminati. He says that they're afraid of the collective consciousness of the people. Right. No matter how strong their psychic powers are or is, I mean, they cannot really resist the collective consciousness of the people. So we have to act together. We have to wake more people up so that we can form this kind of collective action or concerted action. And we have to cause like an inertia through nonviolent resistance, and to really, really make our government or politicians to cave into our demands.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. We say that quite a bit here. Is there's a spiritual wild card. Our consciousness as humanity is this wild card that I don't think they can control.
Exactly, and we determine the path of the future.
Yeah, that's good to keep that in mind. It's hard sometimes because you just think, "Oh my God, nothing I can do will help." But I did want to ask a little bit about speaking of nonviolent and stuff. They do talk about, they show him some examples when he's supposedly abducted, and they're teaching him all these things and their ways, because I guess he spent like a week or 10 days with them?
9 days.
9 days. And there was a part where they were on a planet and this species was getting attacked by like almost like a giant insect or something.
Yes.
Giant insects, and they just wipe these insects out. So they don't have any problem using violence and violence when it's supposedly, the right thing to do. Like, I guess they were saving these people that were being attacked by these insects, but it makes me think about all the misinformation and disinformation here. Like, what if they were provoked by, what if they were provoking the insects? Like, they know the full story, obviously, right? They're able to discern this truth, but like, how do we discern the truth? From half the wars that are started are based on false flags. And I mean, like, it seems like using violence, even if you're an advanced species like this, would carry some risk if you get it wrong, right? Like, how do they know the full story?
We have to use our common sense. We know that whenever a nuclear holocaust occurred, there will be remnant radioactivities, and there will be mutations of different animals or people. And it's very logical in my mind, and it's common sense that insects would be mutated and they would have different deformations. Some of them would grow very large and become...
Oh, right. These were mutant insects, right?
Yes. And people are created by God. Human beings are created by God. And we are special. We are different from animals. In a sense that we all have the sparkles of the divine, but the animals don't. I mean, we have direct connections to God, the source, but the animals only have like certain bodies that maintain their kind of livelihood.
I see what you're saying. That makes sense. And there is humans like us. I mean, would they be considered humans, but all over all these other planets, right? They're very similar.
Yeah, there are other ETs on different planets, and they're all human beings. And they have different levels. They live on different levels or categories of planets. One thing that's not written in the book is that the Greys that people normally talk about, they also come from a category 1 planet. They're actually a dying race because they've been losing their immune system. They implanted devices onto us just to observe how we respond to the same situation, because we have had the same problem since 1948. But the Thiaoobans say that there's absolutely no harm caused by the implants because they have been monitoring the activities of the Greys just to ensure that we are safe. And also the Hebrews, the Jewish people, originally came from category 3 planet.
Huh. So the Greys, they're androgyne, aren't they? Or they're hermaphrodites, this race?
Hermaphrodites.
Is this the inevitable evolution of humans? Do they end up in that? Are they like just advanced in time as well, and this is where they end up? Or is there another path where, you continue as two sexes, forming families and all that kind of stuff? Like,
the book doesn't really say explicitly in which category that human beings become hermaphrodites, but certainly on a higher category of planet, in order to control birth and also to eliminate the issues between males and females, they become hermaphrodites. And actually, they can live forever. They can regenerate their bodies, their organs, their tissues. So they look forever young. They're always in their 30s, even though they lived thousands of years already. So this is just once you're in a paradise, you become like a hermaphrodite. You don't have to worry about having sex.
Huh. Interesting. So I wonder if we don't have to go that route. It does seem like they've just taken control over their births and their civilization. Like, I just wonder if that's an inevitable technocratic solution in a way,
Well, in the sense that they can really determine when to have a child or whether to have a child or not. They're not controlling the birth of others. They're controlling how, or when and how many babies to be born on their own. because they live forever and they don't want to overpopulate their planet. So that's why they determine when to have a child.
Okay. What about like our past, like Atlantis, Lemuria, 300,000 years ago, the pyramids, the cataclysms? How are they involved in all that stuff?
Well, yeah, I would strongly suggest people to read the book. Otherwise, I would have to talk about another hour and a half and to speak about the other 10% of the book. Well, so we all come from different planets. The yellow people, the black people originally came from a planet called Bagratini about 1.35 million years ago. The Caucasian people came later, and they landed on the continent of Atlantis. And then later on, there was another group of people that came from...
Where was the continent of Atlantis?
It's between North America and Europe.
It was in the middle of the
halfway?
Atlantic. Yeah, middle of the Atlantic.
Yeah, halfway. There was another continent called Lemuria that's in the Pacific Ocean. And part of the continent is what's now today's Easter Island, where you see the statues of Moa. And actually, the book explains where the statues or how the statues came about. It's a very interesting history because there were ancient civilizations in which people had advanced technologies to build the statues on the Easter Island and also to build the Great Pyramid of Egypt using anti-gravitational technologies and supersonic vibrational systems to cut the huge stones in a very precise manner. So this is how things turned out. But then 14,500 years ago, when the continent of Lemuria sunk into the ocean, the technologies were lost because they didn't really pass on to other people. They kept it to their own secret.
So this matches the timeline of the Younger Dryas, right? It matches the timeline of Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock's theories about the flood when it happened, right, in North America and elsewhere, right around that time, right?
Yes, exactly. I've been trying to get Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock to consider reading this book. It's pretty hard to reach them.
Well, we might be able to help with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Might.
So what did they use? They used supersonic vibrational technology to cut the stones. I mean, can you describe that a little bit more? Like, and also how they did they use that to, like, how they used to smooth out the stones too? Like they would cut them out in rough and then put them in place and then smooth them out later. Like, so was it a natural, sort of a natural technology?
It's a natural technology using a specific ultrasonic vibration. So they carved the huge stones using this, which is really energy efficient. Because even Nikola Tesla said, if you really want to know the secrets of the universe, think about the energy, frequency, and vibrations. So this is how the ancient civilizations took advantage of the vibrations to really cut the huge stones into a specific shape. And then they neutralized gravity using a different kind of vibration so that they can move the big stones just like the lost the word, huge stones in a very smooth manner, just like the maglev of China, just move it very smoothly horizontally and without just like a weightless moving things around. So I think it's doable, and I believe that the military has the technology already.
Yeah. Do you know how they created this sonic vibration? Is there any hint to that? Like actually how it was created through, their own vocals or?
I can reveal what happened before the Chinese Communist Party took over Tibet. The British explorers went to Tibet and saw that the Tibetan monks using a musical instrument like a horn to make a specific frequency of sound so that the heavy stones were lifted up into the mid of the air. So the Tibetans were using a musical instrument to make that happen. I don't know how the Lemurians did it.
Almost like the
Hey,
walls
what about
of,
that thing at
the
Coral
walls
Castle?
of Jericho.
Yeah.
Remember there's that metal thing up in the corner of Coral Castle?
Yes.
And they snuck it out of there?
Yes.
And that dude was like moving those big, heavy Coral Castle things around.
Yeah, same technology. Yes.
Have you been to
See-
Coral Castle?
No, I haven't.
Me either.
One day we'll do. If we do a trip there, we'll let you know, and you can come with us and visit it.
Thank you.
So same as like the walls of Jericho, right? With the horns. I mean, maybe that's where that comes from.
Yeah. And I think it's pretty easy to do once we find the right
Frequency, yeah.
frequency. Yeah.
Yeah. So Darren, do you have any questions at all? Or so what planet is our planet? What category are we?
We're a 1, right?
Yeah, we're one. Yes.
I think I prefer it that way. So that I don't have to like share my because if we go to a 2, then I have to share my thoughts with other people. With that with at least one other person. Would that be like just your wife, or is it randomized? You share the womb. And then when you get into 3s and 4s and 5s, like if we were an 8, how would you figure out who's connected then? Is it random?
I mean, sometimes we feel we have soulmates. I think the soulmates are probably our, like, the people who share the same higher self as we do. But we don't know who they are because each one of us experience a different life or have a different experience to learn different lessons. So I think what struck me the most actually in this book is that we don't need to envy the super wealthy or the super rich because they have more challenging lessons to learn. They have more temptations to really keep themselves straight. Imagine Bill Gates or people who are born wealthy. They are probably more into drugs or more the other things that may damage their spiritual development. So I think their lives are not to be envied or jealous. I think each one of us has a unique lesson to learn, and we have to take full advantage of what life presents us so that we can accumulate knowledge and lessons in order to purify our spiritual path.
I want to ask you about that cataclysm again, 14,500 years ago. You said there's a note in here about cometary impact. Does it say where that was to cause the Great Flood, or maybe that wasn't the same as the 14,500?
Right. About the asteroid hit the Earth about 1 million years ago or so.
Oh, okay, that's not the 14,000.
Yeah, it's split into 3 different parts. One portion landed in what's now the Red Sea. The other portion landed in what's now the East Timor area. And the smaller portion landed in the Galapagos Islands. And what happened 14,500 years ago was the earthquake that caused the entire continent of Lemuria that sunk into the Pacific Ocean. That's what happened. And soon after, the Atlantis, the continent of Atlantis also sank into the ocean. So that's what happened.
And that was just an earthquake? Was that caused by impact as well, according to this prophecy?
That's caused by the earthquake. Because, in the Pacific Ocean, there were a lot of gaseous belts. I learned geology, and I learned that there's scientific evidence about the gaseous belts in the Pacific Ocean. And that's actually the reason that caused the earthquake on the sunken of the continent.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's more corroborating evidence for Atlantis.
For Atlantis, yeah. So what is this going to come out on audio at all, this book, do you know?
Yes, they're under review by Audibles or ACX.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah, probably in
That's
about
good.
2 weeks or so, maybe.
Okay, when that comes out, let me know, and we'll put it. I'll put it. We'll push it. We'll put it.
Great.
It's
I'll
easy.
be
It's
sure.
easier for it's definitely sort of easier right now for people to listen to books.
Yeah, I'll make sure to let you know. It's actually read by a British person.
Oh yeah, that's good. Sounds really smart.
Yes, sophisticated.
So, is there anything else that we should discuss before we let you go? Is there anything that we missed? Any big parts that we missed?
I really like to receive more help from people like you to spread the word out, because we are really living in a very critical moment of time. Remember, Enoch was taken away by God. The Jehovahans and Michel Desmarquet believed that he was taken by the same group of ETs, the Thiaoobans. A few decades later, Noah was told to build an ark, and he was the great-grandson of Enoch. Michel Desmarquet similarly was instructed to write a book. You can imagine what's going to happen a few decades later. So this is why I'm taking a lot of my time to really dedicate myself to spread the information and knowledge. And I think we are really, really at a very important cross path. And I think the more people who can wake up, the more we can really go on the right path, not the path of destruction. And I really want help from all of you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can connect you with some more podcasters too. And I mean, I just do think that, I mean, it seems like a common sense book. Like, it's not filled with sort of like these narratives that kind of make you cringe because, you're not really believing them anyways in our reality, So it felt genuine in that way to me. And I mean, I guess he wasn't believed when he came back and he tried to explain this to his family and his friends. And he's like, look, I'm supposed to write a book about it. And then I guess he pushed through writing a book, right?
Yeah. His wife still to this day doesn't believe him. She thinks he was having an affair with another woman.
He just said it's a hermaphrodite alien, dear. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Right
he
on,
passed away.
Leon.
Yeah.
Oh, when was that?
He passed away 4 years ago, and I'm probably the only person who learned about the information he didn't put in the book.
Really? Wow. So are you able to do any, like, an addition to the book or anything like that, or are you just spreading the word by talking about it?
Yes, I'll do that when I feel that we are more ready about it. Actually, when I'm more ready about it, I'll write another book.
Oh, really? Hey, wow. Okay, that'll be interesting. Yeah, you definitely got to talk about that one. Let us know when you can come on, because this book's doing quite well in Taiwan and where else did you say it was? Taiwan and China? Yeah. It's pretty popular. Or it's
pretty popular, and a lot of people are waking up.
Yeah.
And I think great changes are coming to China, but there has to be some kind of collective efforts by all the people in China and people outside of China as well, to really make the government.
Is it harder to wake people up over there? My friend has his wife is Korean, and he says that they're in a competitive compliance. They're like competitive compliance with governments, right? Like their culture is really like they do what the government says and they compete to do it better than any other people, like, which is somewhat different from the West, where we're sort of like, we think more of as freedom to, of speech. And yeah, we used to. Yeah.
I mean, there are different obstacles or challenges to wake people up. For China, it's the ignorance of the people, because the media is controlled by the government. In South Korea, for example, is the religion, because a lot of South Koreans are Christians. They do not distinguish the differences between spirituality and religion. And in the US, it's another challenge. is the misinformation and disinformation. And I think we have to tackle each challenge differently.
Right. So is China doing okay right now, though? Or are they? Where do you live in China?
No, I'm in Los Angeles. I have
you're in Los Angeles.
in China.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Is China doing okay right now? I keep hearing different stories, and I never know what to believe because there's people try to predict the collapse of China, and it never seems to happen.
The Chinese government says they're doing great, wonderful, but always think the opposite when the Chinese government says that. I would say within 2 years or so, they're going to collapse.
Wow, really?
Oof.
Yeah,
well, just like the whole country or just the government?
The government.
Do you think that'll cause the country to fall into collapse, or do you think they'll be able to pull it up?
I think there are definitely going to be social instabilities once that happens. That's going to affect Western countries and also other parts of the world. I just hope that it's going to be as the damage is going to be as minimal as possible. But that's definitely going to happen. And I know there's a group of people overseas. They're called the New Federation of China or something like that. And I think they're trying to take down the CCP.
Does the collapse have to happen, you think, for us to move forward?
I think for China, for the Chinese people, yes. For people in the US and Canada, I think more is needed because the media is actually controlled by 5 or 6 families, and people need to realize that they need to follow their own intuition. They have to have more independent thinking when it comes to news and media. They need to follow their own heart and not the doctrines or narratives of the government or others.
Yeah, well said.
Thanks for coming on the show, Samuel. Where can our listeners track you down? Do you have social media or websites or anything like that?
Yeah, people can find me on Facebook or search on Google and type in my name, Samuel Chong, and the name of the book, Thiaoooba Prophecy, and they can find the book on Amazon.
Right on. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I'll connect you with some other podcasters and you can make the rounds. And I recommend people check it out for sure. It's interesting. And thanks for putting your heart and soul into this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we'll link to all that stuff in the show notes. Thank you, Samuel. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
See ya.
See you.
And that was a chat with Samuel Chong. What'd you think, buddy?
Wow, yeah, I liked it, buddy. It was good. Yeah, it was really
good.
interesting.
Yeah,
it started out like a sci-fi novel, and I was thinking, man, this is interesting from just like a sort of like, it jumps right into the story about him being abducted with these, and it sounded real for some reason to me. So it wasn't kind of crazy. And then they got into all the sort of predictions about what's going on Earth and the history, and yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
Fascinating chat with a fascinating cat. If you guys enjoyed it, of course, buy his book, do all that wonderful stuff. And if you did get some value from a little podcast here, head over to grimerica.ca/support today. Sign up for a monthly, or make a one-time donation, either of which we'd be forever grateful for. While you're over there, head over to grimericaoutlaw.ca. Check out our other podcast over there. It's a little more controversial than this one. And you can head over to our events, contact@thecabin.com. All of our audiobooks at adultbrain.ca. It's all fun and it's all good and it's all stuff for you to listen to. Other than that, we love you guys. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
Somehow I built a rocket ship out of the stuff dreams are made and popsicle sticks. Please look at my rocket ship schematics. Tell me it can fly to the moon. Tell me I'm not a lunatic. I bet you think I'm a space cadet. I bet you think I'm a space cadet. No regret, I do not fret. cadet. In my hands I have a gas can and matchsticks. Yes, Earth is my home, but I need a vacation from all the sadness, the chaos, and dramatics. I'll let you do the countdown, 3, 2, 1, no hesitation. I bet, I bet, I bet, I bet, I bet you think I'm a space cadet. I bet, I bet, I bet, I bet, I bet you think I'm a space cadet. I bet, I bet, I bet you think, I bet you think I'm a space cadet. No regret, I do not fret, 'cause I am a space cadet. No regret, I do not fret, 'cause I am a dreamer. Look at my rocket ship fly by, trailing behind a silver streamer. No regret, I do not fret, 'cause I am a space cadet. No regret, I do not fret, 'cause I am a dreamer.